we have Cypress Development. Referencing a little bit battery metals, but Cypress is really onto something here with that lithium play in Nevada. It's a great, you have that strong lithium supply in a sound jurisdiction like Nevada. They're advancing a pilot plant of the Clayton Valley Lithium project, and that is adjacent to Albemarle's Silver Peak mine, which is North America's only lithium brine operation, and it is a significant one in the market. So really great real estate. We're really happy to be joined today by the president and the CEO of Cypress Development, Bill Willoughby. Bill, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Anthony. Good morning.
Fantastic. Now, Bill, you joined us yesterday. Gave a great talk, a lot of response from our investor delegates, lots of questions for you. We didn't even have time to get through them all, so we're going to hope to make that up today. Yesterday, you're at the pilot plant in Nevada. Is that where you're joining us from today again?
No, I'm up in Tonopah near our sample prep facility that we have there, but my internet situation's about the same, so I'll keep my video off to be able to
Fair enough.
with you.
The main thing is that we can hear you, Bill, and you're coming through loud and clear. So that works out well for us. So listen, we talked about it yesterday. Really exciting opportunity here. Lithium market is a very, very interesting one. I think maybe why don't we start with talking a little bit about how you differentiate Cypress from other lithium plays in Nevada.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, we're the third of 3 projects that have reached the pilot plant stage. We're also the third company here in Nevada that has stated reserves rather than resources for our project. And our project's basically unique in that we have this opportunity to use chloride leaching, and it sets us apart, I think, from all the other projects. You were talking earlier about inflationary pressures and how that's driving the whole supply chain. We're quite conscious of that, and we see what's going on in the macro environment around us, particularly in the area of sulfur and derivatives from oil and gas. So we feel that while we're moving towards the project in terms of our process, it's setting us up in the best position possible to be able to deal with working towards a low operating cost and a project that will be sustainable in the environment that we have.
Excellent. Well, and that's such a key factor. I know Cypress takes that seriously, the environmental implications. It came up a lot yesterday. Certainly the companies that are going to succeed through this next secular bull market are those that have ESG at the front of mind. Now, you've mentioned switching from sulfuric acid to hydrochloric acid, and that's a greener alternative. Are you considering any other ways to minimize the project's environmental impact that our delegates should be aware of?
Well, certainly we're looking at the power supply now as a key factor in the project. To that end, certainly solar and geothermal are definitely on our radar. We're going to be doing studies on those trade-off studies as we go through the feasibility study. We're also looking at ways to, say, minimize our carbon footprint in the whole operation, all the way from the mining side down to processing, where we might have possible CO2 emissions. The whole works there. So yes, we're quite conscious of that, and that's a part of our process in design going forward.
All right, excellent. Now, water is an issue everywhere for the mining industry. When we get down to oftentimes drier regions such as Nevada, Arizona, it's even more on the front of investors' minds. So can you talk to us a little bit about what Cypress is doing around water? How is that being handled?
Well, certainly Nevada in general and our location in Clayton Valley, water rights and water availability are tight. We're quite fortunate now with our project in that we've negotiated a water rights purchase agreement, and we're in the final stages of closing that agreement. By our calculations, that should give us enough water to work with our process for the design rate of our pilot or our whole project. So I think we're in great shape there.
And how does that, Nevada, you referenced it is becoming a hot area for lithium. Well, I remember going to lithium clay projects, when I was a reporter back in 2006, 2007. It's funny how this market has evolved. And I think things are well, you're demonstrating that the market's ready for this and that the economy needs this right now. But in terms of water issues, how does Clayton Valley compare with other projects in the area that are now starting to ramp up?
Well, there's gold projects in the area that are moving forward. Some of those have secured their water rights. I think the other two advanced lithium projects in the state are well on their way to having the water that they need for the supply. But a lot of smaller ones really haven't started that process yet. And certainly in Clayton Valley, it's a very tight situation on the water rights. We've got 1,800 acre feet per annum that will be covered in our water right. So we're in a great position for having that right now.
You're part of the select few that have that covered off. Now, what about long-term ambitions in Clayton Valley? How do you see this ultimately? Where does it sit in the market, as we look 3, 5, 8 years out?
Well, most certainly what we're aiming for is to bring our project to production. So that's our entire focus with our pilot plant, focus with the feasibility moving forward. Along the way, of course, we're going to look for ways to optimize our project, pick the right production rate, the right process, possible byproducts, and be open to other opportunities, whether those are partnerships or, some vendor agreements or what have you along the way. And then we're definitely focused just on our lithium clay project. That's our flagship. That's where our full attention is right now. If something else comes along the way that looks attractive, we always evaluate and consider those opportunities as they come. But right now, our focus is Clayton Valley Lithium Project.
All right. Now we have a couple questions here from the audience, as I thought there might be. You mentioned from Stuart, yesterday that first pilot plant results will be a few weeks out. At what point do you expect to have marketable lithium hydroxide or carbonate samples?
Well, our pilot plant in Clayton Valley is focused on producing from our LionX process a high lithium, low impurity solution. That solution in itself will represent a milestone for us, whether it's good quality or bad quality. That solution we will then ship to Canada, to NORAM Engineering in Richmond. They will then do the final step at producing lithium hydroxide from it. We expect that will probably be in Q1 next year.
Okay, and that was our next question, a timeline. So Q1 next year, we can expect those results to start coming in.
Well, there will be other results beforehand, because I expect that once we have some certified assay results out of the lab, we'll know what we're doing on a daily basis. And we certainly will know how some of the leaching process is working and some of the impurity removal steps. So I expect before we hit next year, we're going to be able to have some results put forth.
Okay. Now you have your hands full, and you've stated clearly that the focus is on Clayton Valley project, and that's exactly what I'm sure your investors want to hear. But we touched upon a little bit about going forward and looking at opportunities. I'm just wondering, is there a comp in the market that you would kind of say is, represents a good strategy forward for getting out of being a single asset company? There's the, Lithium America bought an interest in Arena Minerals. Do you see, what do you think the model is beyond Clayton Valley?
Well, I think you have to pay careful attention to what asset and what jurisdiction you're looking in. I can give you some examples of companies that have tried to diversify that way, and it has turned out badly. Basically, diverting your attention from your real goal. So when Cypress moves forward, we're going to be entirely focused on our primary objective, which is our project at hand.
Okay. Couple more questions coming in from the delegates. Do you want to put the project into production yourself?
Myself? Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think you've been clear on that. Another one from Eric. Are you proactively looking at your clay chemistry with possible third-party brines for a possible fit?
We've always had a conscious attention to what the brines in Clayton Valley are like in terms of their chemical composition. So yes, we're actively thinking towards how we could best utilize the brine resources of our area in our process.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Willoughby, we thank you for taking the time and joining us from your multiple locations, you're clearly an executive on the move, and you like to have your boots on the ground and be where your assets are. And that's always a great indicator for investors. I'm also, thank you to our delegates, a lot of response, great questions coming into Bill. So exciting time for Cypress, and we wish you all the success in the coming year.
Great. Hey, thank you for having me here today. Appreciate it.
Great to have you. Great to have you, Bill.
Take care.
Cheers.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.